She demanded, "Answer me. Is your family more important than us?" During counseling, I said, "Yes, they actually love me." When the therapist pointed out her 38 instances of emotional abuse in one session, she stormed out and never came back. I, 31 male, guess I should have seen the red flags sooner. Been with Vanessa, 29, for 3 years, living together for the last 18 months. The relationship started great. She was charming, attentive, everything you'd want. But looking back, the control started small and escalated so gradually, I didn't notice how bad it had gotten. It started with little comments about my family. "Your mom texts you too much. Why does your sister need to call every week? Don't you think you're a bit old to be so close with them?" I brushed it off as her being independent. Her own family was distant, so I figured she just didn't understand close family bonds. The isolation really kicked in about 8 months ago. Every family event became a battle. My nephew's birthday? We already have plans. We didn't. Sunday dinner at my parents'? I'm too tired from work. My brother's engagement party? His fiancée doesn't like me. They'd met twice. 2 months ago, my dad had a minor heart episode. Not a full attack, but enough to land him in the hospital for 3 days. When I told Vanessa I was leaving work early to be there, she lost it. Said I was being dramatic, that if it was serious, they'd have called an ambulance. Not me. I went anyway. She gave me the silent treatment for 4 days. That was my breaking point. I suggested couples counseling. Surprisingly, she agreed, probably thinking the therapist would take her side about my unhealthy attachment to my family. First session was last Tuesday. Dr. Reeves, mid-50s, very calm demeanor. Started with the basics. How we met, our concerns, what brought us in. Vanessa immediately launched into how I prioritize my family over our relationship. How I'm emotionally immature. How my family is invasive and controlling. Dr. Reeves listened, took notes, asked clarifying questions. Then she turned to me. I kept it simple. Said I felt like I was constantly walking on eggshells. That nothing I did was right and that I missed my family. That's when Vanessa exploded. Started listing every time I'd chosen them over her. Every phone call I'd taken. Every birthday I'd remembered. And then she said it. "Answer me. Is your family more important than us?" The room went silent. Dr. Reeves was watching me carefully. Vanessa was practically vibrating with rage. "Yes," I said. "They actually love me." Vanessa's face went from red to white, started sputtering about how she loves me, how I'm throwing away our future, how I'm a mama's boy who can't commit. Dr. Reeves interrupted. Very calmly, she said, "Vanessa, I'd like to share some observations from this session." She flipped through her notes. "I've documented 38 instances of what appears to be emotional manipulation and control in just the past 40 minutes. She started listing them, using tears to shut down disagreement, gaslighting about conversations that never happened, dismissing my feelings, name-calling disguised as honesty, financial threats, apparently mentioning whose name is on the lease mid-argument counts, isolation tactics, guilt-tripping, moving goalposts, false victimization. By number 15, Vanessa was standing. By 20, she was at the door. "This is bullshit. You're just another man who can't handle a strong woman," she pointed at me. "We're done. Get your shit out of my apartment." She slammed the door so hard the certificates on the wall shook. Dr. Reeves looked at me. That was actually number 39, emotional blackmail via housing threats. I sat there for another 20 minutes. Dr. Reeves was incredibly kind, gave me resources for emotional abuse survivors, and said she'd be happy to continue individual sessions if I wanted. Got home that evening to find my clothes and trash bags by the door. My laptop and tablet were on top, but my gaming console, the TV I'd bought, my coffee maker, even my grandma's cookbook, all missing. Vanessa was in the bedroom with the door locked, music blasting. I took what was there and left, crashed at my brother Derek's place, told him everything. He just hugged me and said, "We've been waiting for you to see it." That was 5 days ago. The text started the next morning. Update 1. The entitlement is off the charts, guys. After radio silence the first night, Vanessa started texting. Not apologizing, demanding. Where was her half of rent? I'd been paying 70% because I made more. Where was the grocery money? I'd been buying all groceries for 6 months. Why wasn't I answering her calls? She dumped me and kicked me out. I didn't respond. Then came the guilt trips. "I can't believe you're abandoning me like this. 3 years meant nothing. Your family finally got what they wanted." Still didn't respond. Then came the threats. She'd throw out everything I left. She'd tell everyone I was abusive. She'd call my work. That one got my attention. I screenshot everything and texted back once. The lease is in your name alone, as you've reminded me 47 times. I have no legal obligation to pay. Do not contact me again. She called 18 times in the next hour. Meanwhile, I was taking action. See, while my name wasn't on the lease, I'd been paying utilities directly from my account. Electric, internet, streaming services, all in my name because her credit was shot when we moved in. I'd forgotten about them in the chaos. Logged into everything. Scheduled disconnection for the end of the week. Gave her 5 days notice via email. Documented, formal, through the utility company's system so she couldn't claim I didn't warn her. Canceled the streaming services immediately, though. Those were purely luxury. Also discovered something interesting. Remember my gaming console she kept? I'd bought it on my credit card. Still had the receipt in my email. Same with the TV. And the coffee maker. About $2,000 worth of stuff total. Derek convinced me to file a police report for theft. The officer said since I could prove purchase and she'd locked me out without formal eviction, I had mail there. Establishing residency, it was technically theft. They gave me a report number and said they'd follow up. That evening, her best friend Moira started blowing up my phone. How could I be so cruel? Vanessa was destroyed. I was a monster for financially abusing her. I sent Moira one message. She kicked me out after verbally abusing me in therapy. She kept my property. She's harassing me. Please stop contacting me. Moira's response? You're a pathetic excuse for a man. No wonder she controlled you. You needed it. Blocked her too, but not before screenshotting everything. Update 2. The extinction burst hit different than expected. Monday morning, I get a call from my manager. Someone had sent an anonymous email to HR claiming I was unstable and potentially dangerous. Said I'd been kicked out for abusive behavior, and they were concerned for coworker safety. Thank God my manager knows me. He pulled me aside, showed me the email. It was clearly Vanessa. She used phrases she always did, like emotionally dysregulated and narcissistic tendencies. Projection much? I showed him the texts, the threats, the police report for my stolen property. He immediately escalated to HR. But in my defense, they opened an investigation into harassment instead. Then Tuesday, the real fun started. Officer Martinez called. They'd gone to serve Vanessa notice to return my property or face charges. She'd apparently had a complete meltdown, screaming about how I was abusing the legal system, how the items were gifts, how this was harassment. Here's the thing. She'd texted me 2 days earlier saying, come get your stupid game system if you want it so bad. I'd replied, I'll arrange pickup through the police as you've been hostile. She'd responded, I threw it away. Sue me. Officer Martinez found this very interesting. Admitting to destroying someone else's property after acknowledging it was theirs? Not smart. She was given 48 hours to return the items or face charges for destruction of property and theft. Wednesday, my mom called. Vanessa had somehow found her work number and called crying about how I'd abandoned her with all the bills and she couldn't afford food. My mom, bless her, just said, that sounds like a you problem, and hung up. But Vanessa wasn't done. She showed up at my brother's apartment Thursday night. Derek's Ring doorbell caught everything. She was crying, begging to talk to me, said she'd had time to think, that therapy was wrong, that we could work it out. Derek didn't even open the door, just called through the intercom that she needed to leave, or he'd call the cops. She started screaming, I know you're in there. You owe me 3 years. You can't just walk away. Derek called the cops. She left before they arrived, but we filed another report. Friday morning, I get a text from an unknown number. It's Vanessa's mom, who I'd met maybe 3 times. She's disappointed in how I'm handling things. Her daughter is fragile and I'm kicking her while she's down. Says a real man would at least pay this month's rent so she could find a roommate. I didn't respond, but I did laugh. The woman who raised this entitled nightmare, wanting me to subsidize her daughter's lifestyle after she abused me? Nah. Friday afternoon, the police called again. Vanessa had returned the gaming console and coffee maker. The TV was accidentally broken during a move. Sure, John. Officer Martinez said I could pursue charges for the destroyed property or accept the return of partial items and monetary compensation for the TV. I asked what would happen with charges. Probably community service and restitution anyway. I opted to accept $800 compensation for the TV, retail value minus depreciation, and the returned items. Just wanted this done. But the best part? When she returned the items, she included a letter. 2 pages of how I'd ruined her life, how she'd never love again, how my family had won, how I was a weak man who couldn't handle a passionate woman. The last line, you'll regret this when you're alone forever. Derek read it and said, bro, being alone sounds amazing compared to that. Update 3, so Vanessa learned about consequences this week. Remember how I'd given proper notice about utilities? Well, she ignored it. Wednesday, power got shut off. She called me screaming from Moira's phone. How could I do this? It was illegal. She'd sue. I calmly reminded her I'd given written notice through the utility company. She'd had a week to transfer service to her name. Not my problem, she'd an adult. But my credit is bad. They want a $400 deposit. Should have thought about that before kicking me out. She hung up. Thursday, got an interesting call from my apartment complex management. Not Derek's, my old complex where Vanessa lives. Apparently, she tried to add me back to the lease, claiming we'd reconciled so I could be liable for rent. The office called me to verify since they needed my signature. We absolutely have not reconciled. I haven't lived there since she kicked me out 3 weeks ago. This feels like fraud. The manager got very quiet, then said they'd need to review their options regarding Ms. Vanessa's tenancy. Friday morning, HR called. They'd completed their investigation, the harassment was documented, and they'd traced the IP address of the anonymous email to a coffee shop near Vanessa's apartment, sent during a time when she'd posted an Instagram story from that exact location. Genius move, posting your location while committing harassment. They couldn't share full details but said appropriate protective measures were in place. Translation, if she contacts my work again, they're pressing charges. Friday afternoon was when karma really showed up. See, Vanessa works in marketing for a small firm, very image-conscious industry, and she'd been posting all over social media about her abusive ex, who'd financially abandoned her. Problem was, she'd gotten cocky and started naming me. Full name in some posts. My cousin Amelia is a lawyer. She sent Vanessa a cease and desist for defamation, outlined how her posts were provably false thanks to all my documentation, defamatory, and causing potential professional harm. Either remove all posts and stop, or face a lawsuit. Vanessa deleted everything within 2 hours, but someone had already screenshotted them. Someone, definitely not me, probably Derek being protective, sent them to her company with a note about their marketing manager's concerning online behavior and harassment campaign. Monday morning, Vanessa's LinkedIn showed she was seeking new opportunities. Final update. This is the last update because there's beautiful blessed silence now. After losing her job, Vanessa went nuclear one final time. Showed up at my parents' house on a Sunday during family dinner. Dad wouldn't let her in, but she stood on the lawn screaming about how we'd ruined her life, and she'd lost everything because of your precious son. My sister recorded everything from the window. Vanessa admitted to lying to HR, to trying to fraud the lease, to destroying the TV on purpose. All while trespassing. Dad called the cops, again. This time with multiple police reports, the harassment documentation, and the trespassing, she got arrested. Nothing major. Released same day. But now she had a record. Her parents finally got involved. Called me asking to work something out so their daughter could move forward. I said the only thing I wanted was to never hear from any of them again. They must have talked sense into her because everything stopped. The calls, texts, emails, surprise visits. Nothing. Last I heard through the grapevine, Derek's girlfriend works with someone who knows Moira. Vanessa moved back with her parents 2 hours away. Told everyone she was taking a sabbatical from toxic city energy. Sure, Vanessa. As for me, I'm in an individual therapy with Dr. Reeves. Turns out 3 years of emotional abuse leaves some marks. But I'm healing. Spending Sundays at my parents' again. Calling my sister whenever I want. Playing games with Derek without getting guilt-tripped. My apartment is quiet. My coffee maker makes perfect coffee every morning. My grandma's cookbook sits safely on my shelf. And you know what? Derek was wrong. Being alone doesn't sound amazing compared to that. It is amazing. My family threw me a freedom party last weekend. Mom made all my favorite foods. Dad bought good beer. My sister made a cake that said congratulations on escaping. Derek gave a toast about having his brother back. I'm not saying everything's flinch when my phone buzzes too much. Then my phone buzzes too much. Still triple check that my doors are locked. Still screenshot everything. But I can breathe. I can exist without performing emotional calculus before every decision. I can love my family without defending it. Vanessa was wrong about one thing. I'm not alone, never was. I just couldn't see all the people waiting to catch me when I finally jumped off that burning bridge. To anyone reading this in a similar situation, document everything. Trust your gut. And remember, someone who actually loves you won't make you choose between them and other people who love you. That's not love. That's control. And control dressed up as love is just abuse in a pretty costume. Peace out, Reddit. Thanks for being here while I process this mess. Edit, since some asked, yes, the restraining order is in progress. Lawyer cousin is handling it pro bono. And yes, I kept every single text, email, and recording. If she pops up again, I'm ready. But honestly, I think she finally got the message. Consequences are apparently her kryptonite.